Welcome to Packolution. In this podcast series, you'll hear the experts of the packaging industry talking about sustainability and the future of packaging. It is brought to you by WATTTRON and hosted by one of its founders, Michaela Wachtel, and Sales Director Ton Knitscher.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Packolution, the disruptive podcast brought to you by WATTTRON. Today we have Chakravarti, Global Ambassador of the World Packaging Organization, Board Member of the Pharmaceutical Council of India, Chairman of the PACCON Conference, Chairperson of the Pharma Conclave, and finally, Managing Director of EcoBlist India as our guest, with whom we'll be talking about the packaging of pharmaceuticals and the packaging market in India. Welcome, Chakravarti.
Thank you. Thank you very much, WATTTRON, and thank you very much, Tom.
We always start our episode with a short introduction. Can you tell us something about yourself and your career path so far? And from what we know, you started off your first job in a paper mill.
Well, that's a bit embarrassing for me. Nevertheless, I always wish to say I'm a student forever in this big packaging ocean. I started my career way back. I think now it's almost 38 years. 1984, I started my career, which was also handled by International Paper later on, one of the largest paper mills in India. Though I started my career as a maintenance engineer, electrical engineer, my focus always used to be on the operations. How the paper, how the pulp is made, from the raw material, the wood getting into chips, then digester houses, recovery, refining, and then it was always amazing to see a tree or a recovered recycled paper getting into paper again in different formats. Yeah, that really infuses a lot of enthusiasm in me, in the paper, eventually paper, printing, and packaging. Of course, that's how it started my career. Later on, I happened to work for an internationally renowned company, Ackerland Rouse in Sweden, very popular, you must be knowing, the Tetra Pak group company, ANR Pack, very well known in Scandinavian countries. It's amazing. I think that was the foundation for me to be into the packaging. Though I was in the paper and later on paper boards for a while, almost a decade, till early 90s. And then I was into this packaging by default because the management, the Balarpur Industries Limited, another giant in paper making, has bought this Ackerland Rousing unit in India. And I was reputed to overview the operations of this plant. I was hardly around 28 years at that time, too young. But I took up the mantle and I started learning basics of packaging. And then it's a great exercise, especially at that age. I spent a lot of time in Lund, Norrköping in Sweden. And I learned the advanced methods and technologies at that time and tried to implement in Indian counterpart as well. That's how my packaging journey started.
As stated in the introduction, you have more than one function and all on senior level. How do you combine all these roles and how do you manage your time?
Yeah, that's a passion on. When you have some interest in certain things, I think you always maintain and try to arrange your calendars. It's not only packaging. Internationally, I've been associated with the World Packaging Organization, for example. The first encounter with WPO was way back in 2002 when I won the first World Star Award, and I went to his pack in Spain, Barcelona, and then I attended the WPO meetings along with Mr. Rajiv Dhar, at that time Indian Minister of Packaging Director, and eventually Secretary. Last 20 years I've been very closely associated, and now for the last almost 6 years I've been on the executive board also as a global ambassador. Nevertheless, when I have a position or no position, I always have been working for the cause of packaging worldwide. Much before I started traveling, as I was telling you, it's really now it looks a little silly. I try to recall one of my experiences when the visas for the European countries were not common for other countries. I changed around 9 country currencies and I had to obtain 9 visas for 9 European countries in 92, I think, 93. And every 2-3 days when I was traveling to other country, I had to change my currency, and then it was really funny. And today we have one visa common for all countries.
I remember those days as well, yeah.
Yeah, Gilda to Deutschmark, liras, big currencies of liras, Italian liras, you remember, and the Swedish kronas, Swiss marks. Dutch guilders, whatnot.
I used to carry 2 or 3 wallets with me with different currencies. I remember those days.
But Euro made all that simple today. We are able to travel. Yeah. And coming to the different positions, Don, I really like and enjoy being a part of various associations. Almost all the associations which I represent, for example, Pharmaceutical Export Promotion Council of India, the largest in India. I've been associated for a long time, and I was glad that I could be elected onto the board also last year. As you are aware, India exports to more than 215 countries. It's medicine, affordable medicines, we say. And 1 out of 3 pills consumed in the US market are manufactured in India. 40% of the generic drugs consumed by the world are from India. Yeah, these are some positive points, but we take pride in representing and promoting the pharmaceutical industry. So that's how I take pride in association. And also being a Dutch company partner, I also represent Indo-European and Indo-Netherlands associations. Apart from the various Chamber of Commerce and Confederation of Indian Industries, I've been associated with that. As I was telling you, wherever I'm associated with, I try to discharge my responsibilities. Just promoting their objectives. It's the industry's objectives. It's the societal objectives. And time management, well, I have a good team in my own company. They take care and I have a complete control over the company. And I still get ample time, probably, to manage all these things.
So the field of packaging for pharmaceuticals is your current focus area of work. Can you elaborate on the specifics when it comes to packaging in this particular field?
Packaging for pharmaceuticals, it's no big different from others as far as the main functions are concerned. But there are a lot of challenges in the pharmaceutical packaging. For example, if you say formulations, a lot of drugs are, drug is a word which you use for medicines, I'm sorry for that. A lot of drugs are very complex in nature and sometimes they are very highly sensitive to moisture or oxygen. And, they largely impact the physical and chemical stability if your packaging is not well. And it's not only that, apart from this particular requirement, unless the other products in other areas, you need to follow a lot of regulatory compliances, whether it is developed market or an emerging market whatsoever. It is very critical to maintain the data, identifications, pack development ports, etc., whether DMF, accelerators, certificates, metal contents, a lot many things. And then things like patient has accessibility and child restraints in some cases. A lot of regulatory aspects. Labeling is a big task. You need to be very communicative in case of a pharmaceutical packaging. So you need to address all these areas in pharmaceutical packaging, which places a little different from all other packagings. Broadly speaking, in today's scenario, pharmaceutical packaging has to really ensure patient convenience. We all talk about it. And, people say accessibility also. So you need to really able to access the medicines, otherwise it's of no use. Consider the case of you arthritic patients or sometimes the senior citizens also. Imagine if they're not able to access the medicines from the packs which they are required to access the medicines from, I think the product itself will go meaningless and useless. So this is very important. That's why the patient compliance also, people talk about it. We talk about. Fortunately, unlike the situation a couple of decades ago, we have a lot of packaging innovations coming to the rescue and fulfilling the needs of the patients. Say, for example, simple dose packs, calendar packs, etc. And even packs with visual cues for tracking medicine consumption also to ensure dosage regimen. And we talk about adherence of the dosage, actually. In other products, if you do not consume, it doesn't matter, actually. If you're not hungry, you don't consume a food. If you're hungry, you consume a food or just throw it out. Or any other electronic or electrical product, either you use it or throw it. But here, there is an objective. You need to consume a specific drug with a dosage regimen. If he doesn't follow that dosage regimen, there is a very possibility the patient might get ill, his disease may not be cured, and sometimes there might be some side effects also, which really throw a big burden on the healthcare system of any country. It's such big. So the results are big. I think packaging plays a vital role to fulfill that dose regimen and compliance, angle, etc. So thanks to the evolution of the packaging innovations in this function.
Actually, I think you've even put it stronger sometimes. During your speeches at conferences, you've often said packaging will be your second physician. Please, can you enlighten us a bit about that?
Thanks, Don. Actually, this particular statement of mine, I think it is before COVID, I was telling about this. Somehow it struck me. Simply, son, you agree, we all use medicines, okay, for some or other reason, whether it is for a disease or a vitamin supplements or OTC or whatsoever. Imagine when you have the medicine in your hand, what is the final contact between the particular drug, the medicine, and you, that's us, the patients or the customers. It's nothing but packaging, my dear friends. The final contact is nothing but packaging between the drug and you. So in a way, you do not have the physician there. You do not have your medical attendant there. A nurse is not there. A pharmacist is not there. The manufacturer who manufactured your medicines are not there. The CNF agent or the logistics guy, the guy who delivered the medicines at your home, nobody is there. What is there in your hand is the packaging. So why not? This packaging is fully filling the purpose of a physician. When I said physician, it is a second physician. I never said that packaging can be your physician, but well, it's really apt under today's situation. Imagine, my dear friends, it's really evident. Just I try to give you some example. So ease of administration, dosage accuracy, we just now talked about it. Dose monitoring also. Now dose monitoring, digital monitoring also can happen. And then you minimizing or almost zeroing any medication errors. These have become the very key factors, especially the post-COVID. Apart from the basic requirements of any drug, the safeguarding drug efficacy, providing product information through labeling, etc., while following a regulatory framework, etc., etc. Those are the basic. So all these elements have become very vital, especially the post-COVID scenario. Imagine the consultation, the physical consultations for normal diseases are decreasing. So in a way, that's also good. You're able to access a world-class or a better physician on the line with a prior appointment. He need not live in the vicinity of appointment by online with the latest in the advanced digital, high-speed internet, etc. and all. You can actually have a nice video call. You can explain to the physician based on, of course, supported by the proper diagnostics reports. Of course, those are the key for him to prescribe any medicines for you. And then he almost examine you as if you have a physical interaction and then prescribes you medicines, okay? And then you need not have to step out of your home, just order those medicines online. You have e-pharmacies all over, and you get your medicines here. So when you have the medicines, you have the medicines supported by the proper packaging. So the packaging is actually helping you to really fulfill the requirements of the dosage accuracy, dose monitoring. Whether it will really see through, will enable you to take the proper dose maybe on the Monday morning, Monday evening, or the second day, or whatsoever. Sometimes you have a combination drugs also. You drug of different nature. In the morning, in the afternoon, it will be there. So these combinations also can be planned properly in a package. And then it's not only there, it's not only the physical characteristics, because the integration of the digital elements into the packaging are coming faster. For example, augmented reality, and of course, the basic things like the track trace elements, etc., are already there with a QR code. But imagine this is going to be a reality, Tom. What inspires me, Sandra, the advanced AR integration. You already have, with a simple scan, now all of us have smartphones in our hands. With a simple scan, you just not only, you used to get all that information about the product before, not just in English, you can also have in your vernacular. Sometimes you can actually listen to this also. But with the advanced AR integration, you actually have your physician or a digital assistant in the form of a 3D hollow appearing on the pack, and he or she, whatever you choose, going to explain to you what is the product, how you take the dose, etc. And wait, it's not only stops there. In the future, it's going to interact in live. So it's not just the recorded version. You're going to have a live. So you might be asking questions that will be answered and then and there itself. So let's hail the advanced elements evolution of the digital technology also, of course. It's still to come, but I'm very positive on it. Things will definitely come, but affordable prices. Why I say affordable prices? Imagine a couple of decades ago, if I need to have a RFID tag, a small RFID tag used to be costing us around $1 or so, maybe 70, 80 cents or $1. Today, you are in a situation, a product which is worth around few cents is already having a RFID, advanced RFID. So the more you consume and the more you do it, I think even these advanced technologies also will become affordable in the future. That's why I'm optimistic in this sphere. That's why the packaging is your second physician. That's the whole background of my statement.
That's a fascinating observation. I think I can picture that already. Going back one step, what you mentioned in the introduction as well, you told us that you were the global ambassador for the WPO, the World Packaging Organization. You told us that you got involved with them 20 years ago. What else do you do with them? How do you work with them together?
Imagine, I strongly believe, Don, every one of us, each one of us who are associated with this packaging field, ambassadors in a way. It's not that somebody is designated an ambassador, that's a different issue. You have a lot of negativity in the society about the packaging. I always recall when things like electricity were invented, I heard stories like they used to throw stones at the inventor because electricity is danger. If you catch a live wire, you'll get shocked and you'll die at the moment. So it did not stop us to use the electricity, even though it was dangerous. So at one point of time in my childhood, I used to say in my competitions, can the world live without electricity? So if you stop electricity for a while, the whole world come to a grinding halt. So why I'm correlating that with this packaging is, even today people say, hey, if at all the world is without packaging, how well it would have been. This is a common perception in the minds of the general public. So I don't find fault with them because this is where the organization like the World Packaging Organization comes to the fore to bring up more awareness, how packaging has literally helped the mankind, how packaging has helped saving lives literally, how packaging has helped people to sustain and a longer life, how packaging has helped the food safety to the people, how packaging has helped minimizing the food losses during the transit from farm to fork. So be it a medical, you name anything, even farming or agriculture, medical, pharmaceutical, healthcare, hospitals, anywhere, even in electronics, electrical, your commutation, the travel, logistics, any industry you take, I think a packaging imprint is always there. But like any other industry, the negativity, the common philosophy, not recycling things properly, poor littering practices, these have put us in a very bad shape. So instead of addressing these flaws, the common public is getting carried out by, why don't we throw away drive away this packaging from our lives? So this is where you and me, it's not just World Packaging Organization. Of course, we are doing from our World Packaging Organization strongly. We are communicating to people through various forums. That's what the awareness about the packaging, its uses for the society, the intangible benefits, which trillions of dollars worth. It's not just by $1 trillion economy, the packaging industry itself, but by being that, how many multiples of hundreds of trillions in the economy, packaging is helping indirectly. So this is the main objective, but apart from that, the World Packaging Organization conducts what you can say the Oscar of Packaging Awards, that's the World Star Awards. Yeah. WATTTRON also is proud, winning few awards before. For anybody, it's a matter of great pride. We promote the awards nationally. We only choose the entries which are already winners in their respective countries. So it's the highest level. And we introduce a lot of new categories also. The safe food, sustainability is another big thing, how packaging helps the sustainability. So these are all the big areas. And education is the main thing. My colleagues, Professor Pierre Pienaar, always believes packaging awareness is the bigger thing. Being the president of World Packaging Organization, he has affinity towards the pharmaceutical field also. We both have common backgrounds in this line. So we try to advocate the importance of the packaging in various fora. And then the recycling and sustainability, we are doing big things. We come out with a recycling model And each country, we wanted to have a Bible kind of a sort, and we were publishing that, and we're compiling that information and correlating and helping all the associations, industry, countrywide through our initiatives. A lot of things are on the anvil, education programs in several countries we took up. I think, these are for global causes. It's not for any individual objectives. I always take pride presenting such a noble organization. Not just as a board member, but even associated. You're all associated in one way. We are all stakeholders of this packaging world. You or me, anybody. So, we have common objective. We take pride in this.
So you gave us a global view on packaging now. With our Packolution podcast, we also would like to look at specific countries and what packaging looks like there, and also what's the recycling system there like. So you are from India. How does the Indian packaging market look like in general, and what's the mindset of the people there and packaging in general?
Well, I think I can authoritatively say, because I'm the witness of the evolution of the Indian packaging industry way back, late 80s. I've been associated with this industry. It's more than 3 decades. So I'm personally visualizing the changes, what have been happening in this industry in India in specific. And not only that, my several visits to various countries, even those days in the late 80s, early 90s especially, given me a clue how packaging in India was before and how the evolution took place. And today, I think Indian packaging industry is matching world standards. We always used to admiringly visualize the various packaging evolutions, be it in USA or several parts of Europe when I was visiting in those times. And today, I think we are second to none. You take glass, you take metal, you take paper conversion, you take, of course, plastic. That's a big one. Any kind of packaging. I think there's a lot of evolution took place in India, and we're matching the global standards both by quality and also the quantity also. I don't have ready-made authentic figures, yet I can say vehemently it's almost more than $50 to $60 billion industry in India already. And that comes in organized industry. If you consider a lot of other unorganized small-scale industries, I think it's much more in India. Well, you asked about the recycling. I think this is a very important topic. One must be aware, the general perception is that the countries like India and Indonesia are big waste bins in the world. In reality, my dear friends, it's not like that. So, do you know the Indian, I'm not only talking about on the packaging, Indian resource extraction rate is more than 3 times. I'm telling you, it's recorded. It's more than 3 times than the global average. And of course, we have a national proposed draft policy of resource efficiency also recently come out. And you know one thing, when we talk about the PET bottles, I think India holds the world record of recycling, if I'm not wrong, more than 95% of what it is produced. Wow. It is way above the world average, because you have something out of it. The rag pickers or the collectors have an attraction towards collecting all the used recycled PET bottles. And now, earlier the PET recycling was in a very nascent stage in India, and now that as per necessity is the mother of invention, a lot of recycling plants also have come up. And I give you a simple example. I started using a couple of years ago the shoes. I'm dumping all my leather shoes. Of course, occasionally I wear them. To the 100% PET bottle recycled shoes, I have 2-3 pairs with me. Each pair of shoes, I think they spent around 8 recycled bottles. It's not only me. I found in several my meetings with a lot of CEOs who are worth more than a couple of $1 billion in their turnovers and all. They also started wearing this. I think there is some awareness is going on already. This is a noble initiative, and we have some responsible living also. We do. It's happening. If you talk about, I do not know, even the single-use ban also has become a very big now. 1st of August, it is being effective. So, a lot of initiatives are happening. As Tom was mentioning, we are not far behind. In fact, some of our initiatives are far ahead of other countries also. The only thing I strongly believe that the implementation part and also the habits, the poor habits of the general public, where we mix up everything and throw it. So this is where the countries like European countries and USA and Australia and other countries are advanced, because there the general tendency is that you indiscriminately differentiate all the waste at the source itself, at your usage itself, at your home. And then all of them will go to the different areas. Whether they get recycled 100% or not, that's a different issue. But at least the segregation happens. Here in India, we are used to very free living. So the plastic of very thin material, which is used for wrapping foods and other things, they go and it's very hard to pick them up and recycle. So you find them all around when you go on the roadsides, the river banks. You get a very sick feeling. So it's all our habits. We need to. So this is where the ban of plastic, certain items are coming to fore. And we are very optimistic. I think things will improve in the future.
In the preliminary conversation, you mentioned that India is self-sufficient. That is an amazing achievement for a country with such a large population. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, Tom, this is in continuation with what I've been telling you just before, because India was importing a lot. Now we have a trade positive today, even in packaging, because in several sectors, we already become trade positive. Where, for example, pharmaceuticals, we are a big trade positive. Earlier, similarly, the raw materials for packaging and some of the advanced raw materials, converted materials, etc. in packaging, the import dependence has reduced far. Thanks to the policies of the governments of India and some of our provinces, for example, the province where I am, the government of Telangana, has a very industrial-friendly policy. People come from other parts of India, but several other countries from Europe and USA. They come and set their shop here, have a joint venture or 100% a local venture whatsoever. And we are able to find all those material which were getting imported before, and we are able to manufacture, and we are self-sufficient. And sometimes we are even exporting certain material. So that's where I told almost self-sufficient, but for few very advanced drug delivery systems and other things, I think on the material part and converted material part, India is almost self-sufficient. And that proves, I'll give you an example, Tom. Sorry, I take another 1 minute on this. For example, India was making almost 1/3 of vaccines produced in the world. Just for record, we completed 2 billion doses already in India, other than the doses we exported to various other countries in post-COVID. I'm talking about only COVID vaccine. I'm not even talking about other vaccines. So imagine when the global supply chains were under hard pressures during that time, no flights, no shipping, nothing was happening. Little those days, I think our industry has come to the rescue, Indian packaging industry. Imagine without its support, we would not have rolled out all the life-saving vaccines in time. And remember, they are not just normal vaccines which you can store at your ambient temperatures. Several of them required low temperature requirements, cold chain, sustainable cold chain requirements, etc. I think we gave these challenges, and that's how I can strongly say that Indian packaging industry stood its ground hard up and then met its challenges.
Impressive.
So I think we got a really good insight already, and we're at the end of the episode. Is there anything that you would like to add? Any last sentence or last word that you would give our audience?
I'm not so big personality to give a message or something like that, but as I told you, I'm just a passionate like you and Don and all other stakeholders of this industry. We love the industry which we belong to. First of all, we all must have love, and without any obligation. We must love our industry. We must know the objective of the industry which we are serving. And then we must proudly, I repeat, explain the objective of our industry, how it is serving the society, what are the positive effects of this packaging industry to the common public. And it starts at your home. You have to start making your children aware about this and your vicinity, your friends, and then schools. I think the packaging awareness has to start. And who else will be the ambassadors for that? You, me, Don, all the packaging industry holders. In addition, I always believe we always have a lot of evolution in the technologies, innovations, etc. End of the day, I strongly believe whatever innovation, sometimes it might be very small innovation. Take the case of wheel. When the wheel is a small thing today, but when the wheel was invented, just imagine the world without wheel and after the wheel invention. So it's completely turned around. Similarly, in the packaging also, even small innovations which help the mankind For example, in agriculture and handling the food, medicines, whatsoever, simple tips and simple techniques. I think any innovation must help the mankind end of the day. So if it is not for the purpose of serving the mankind, I think innovation, however great it might be, it will only end up in the archives or in the libraries of the universities. So it has to help the mankind at large, end of the day. That's my viewpoint.
Wise words. Thank you. So that concludes another episode of our podcast, Packolution. Thank you, Chakravarti, for sharing your experience and vision with us. Very interesting for us and hopefully for our listeners. Please stay tuned in